Hey guys, so here's your monthly marketing report for the month of July 2021 for Monument. I'm curious about what you guys think. Hold tight. Trace is going to be right here with all those numbers for you.
If you are looking for information on buying, selling, managing, or renting a home, we'll show you all the tips, tactics, and secrets that will best ensure your success. So let's get started. What's up, Monument? My name is Trace. I'm with Asher Realty Group. And real quick, we're going to go over the Monument real estate market, or the housing report, if you will, for July 2021. So who would this report be for? Now, if you currently own in Monument, you're definitely going to want to check out the information here, because we're actually talking about what could likely be the largest asset you own, being your home or property, if you will. And then those that are aspiring to buy in Monument, you're definitely going to want to take a look at this information, because this can kind of forewarn you or maybe prepare you for any challenges that you may have as far as the activity of the market. So let's get into the information, and I'll try to explain how this could affect you being the seller or buyer as we walk through this real quick. So median sales price for Monument, Colorado, $641,000. Now, what this represents is going to be the average sales price of homes sold in July 21. Now, this can fluctuate monthly, it can fluctuate weekly even, but the information and the data that we're pulling here is coming straight from the MLS. So the information is accurate, as you know, MLS is going to keep accurate data when it comes to the housing market. So 641, what that represents is a 14.5% increase from this time last year. So that's July 2020 compared to July 21. So we saw a 14.5% increase, which is a substantial little notch in the belt for just 1 year. And now I want you to take into consideration that's 14.5% increase, and we even had COVID throughout that entire year. So with so many variables that brought, with lockdowns and masks and people being vaccinated and businesses shutting down and everything else, we still saw a 14.5% increase. So what does that look like overall as far as like a 12-month trend? Well, you can see we had a really big anomaly there with January, February in Monument. But then we scaled back up. We saw a significant increase in May. And when I say significant, it definitely was higher than the previous months. But we've scaled back, and it almost looks like we're starting to level off. So it looks like we had a little bit of volatility there the first of the year. Now, there's so many variables in here that could have done that. And to try to look back, we'd have to dig a lot more and get into a lot more detail to see what actually happened in those first few months. Because I will tell you that Colorado Springs itself did not see this much volatility in the beginning of the year, as far as how low it dropped and then right back up. Now, in Monument, something to consider, typically you're going to have, nice, beautiful homes. As far as lot size there, typically you're going to find a larger lot size. As far as on average, we haven't done an average or a comparison, but I will say, as far as Colorado Springs being in Colorado Springs, the city limits, compared to Monument, generally you're going to see much larger lots in Monument than here. And I will tell you, new builds in Monument are just exploding everywhere. So that also could attribute to the bit higher price. I will say Monument has always kept a bit higher, as long as I can remember, as far as median sales price has always been above Colorado Springs from any time that I've ever seen in the last several years. So anyways, the chart here, what I'm gathering from that is we saw the volatility again, all those variables that are out there. But what I'm starting to see in the last 3 to 4 months here is a little bit of the settling, so that we can actually see that, okay, things are calming down. And what we're doing is we're leveling right around that 640 mark or whatever here in Monument. So it'll be interesting to see with this, the the latest variant or whatever that's coming out now, and some of the threats of lockdowns and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see how this maintains throughout that. So now, as a 5-year trend, now let's get that 40,000 foot view. So let's expand out and see what we're looking at. And really, this is actually a little bit better than what we're seeing in Colorado Springs. Not that anything was too volatile in Colorado Springs, but we did just see a steeper climb from July 20 to July 21. Whereas this looks like the increments, as far as increases, are pretty steady for the last 2 years at least. Looks like we had a smaller gap, a little bit slower between 18 and 19. And again, we're right back at that somewhat comparable from 17 to 18 looks comparable to as 19 to 20. So anyways, let's take a look at inventory, because this is the prize here. This is really going to tell us a lot of what's going on. Now, Monument obviously is not the size of Colorado Springs, not near the population, not near the homes. But there's still enough information and data here that we can start picking things up. Now, one thing that I've noticed though in Monument is you're seeing more listings than sales. So, which is a little bit odd. You would expect a little bit more with the new builds that they have going on in Monument. But two, Colorado Springs does have a lot of new growth going, especially out east, northeast, I should say, and east. So that could attribute to the differences in numbers as far as inventory between Colorado Springs and Monument, and obviously just the sheer size. So in July, we saw 95 listed and 66 sold. So what does that look like as far as a 12-month trend? What are we seeing? Well, you can see we had a little bit of gap, and that again follows that same span that we had in the median sales price, that dip in the first of the year there. So that's somewhat, comparable to the median sales price in that dip. And then again, we're starting to rise back up. Now, the good news is we're seeing more listings, which more listings is going to offer more opportunity for home buyers. And this is going to be where you potentially would be competing with less people. Not to say you wouldn't be competing with people. And it's going to be very important that your agent is aware of how to put together a perfect offer and not just throw money at it, but to put together a strategic offer, if you will, to compete with those multiple offers. But the good news here, as far as what we're seeing, as far as the listings climbing, which it looks like it's done for the last few months, is that hopefully and ideally you would be competing with less home buyers on one particular home. Now, if you currently own, we're still so far away, and we'll get into buyer's market or seller's market here in the next couple slides, and we'll show you what you should be expecting as well. In fact, let's go ahead and move forward. Let's get to the 5-year. Again, we're going to take that 40,000 foot view. What does the inventory and sales look like? And you can see we've closed that gap significantly. So for the sellers that we were just talking about, you can see that gap is closed. So this is going to offer less opportunity, less options for the home buyer, meaning that you're still going to have those, for the home buyers, you're still going to have those multiple offers more than likely on some homes, certainly in the lower price and the medium sized price homes. But the listing and the opportunity is less than what you've seen in years previous. So now let's go to buyers or sellers market. I really feel like I've kind of given this up as far as the information. I feel like most everybody here on this video could probably tell you already what kind of market we're in. But let's just get into it. So month supply of inventory. So this is going to be housing. So housing month supply of inventory is 1.4. So that's nearly 1.5 months. So a month and 2 weeks, just shy of a month and 2 weeks of what inventory that we have. Now, I will say this is substantially higher than what we're seeing in Colorado Springs. And I'll attach the video or a link somewhere to the Colorado Springs housing market report so you can compare July 21 of Colorado Springs to July 21 of Monument, and so you can see. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the month supply of inventory in Colorado Springs for July 21 was 0.86, so it was less than a month, just a little over 3 weeks for a month supply of inventory in Colorado Springs. Whereas we have nearly 1.5 months of inventory here. Keep in mind, anything less than 4 months of inventory would be a seller's market. So at 1.4, we're most definitely in a seller's market. So what does this mean? As sellers, you're really in the driver's chair on this. And if you're positioned correctly and the home is properly prepared, you should be able to get definitely full price. And I got to be honest with you, more than likely you should be getting over full price in most scenarios. So anyways, that's what the market's doing here in Monument. Now, as we've done these videos, more and more people reach out and want to know exactly what their home is worth. As far as like, hey, this is a great overall, love the information, love the video, gave me some insight to this, but we're considering, or we're just curious as far as selling or what the exact value of our home is. Feel free to reach out. We're happy to provide that for you. No strings attached. I just want to make sure you have the accurate information, because I will tell you though we'll give you a link to an instant evaluation, I wouldn't bank on that. I certainly wouldn't bank on that. That information is pulling data that could be as old as a month to 3 months. Now, I will say ours and other real estate agents locally are going to have more, precise information because we're using the MLS and everything else. Whereas I will say your Zillows and everything else, those numbers are so far off base that they're looking just to generate a call. So it starts that conversation, and hopefully, they rope you into the business piece. If you're just wanting some free information as far as your home value or anything, we're happy to help. Let's make sure you get the accurate information. And most certainly, if there was any changes or the opportunity that you're looking to sell, I would highly, highly, highly recommend one of these reports. We'll do an extensive report for you. We'll add specifically your neighborhood as far as what the absorption rate looks like, what you can expect, what kind of repairs, if any, which I got to tell you, this is a strategic piece that a lot of people miss, that you would need to do to prepare the home. And I'm going to go ahead and be a spoiler alert right here and tell you that we would recommend any kind of criteria of home as far as prepping the home would be based on the market itself. So we're not just going to go in there and give you the standard, paint inside and out and refinish the floors. That is not how you do real estate. So anyways, if you have questions or information on that, happy to help. Reach out to if you are locked in with the current realtor that you're happy with, I would recommend contacting them. If you need somebody or you want a second opinion, we're happy to help. Meanwhile, cheers guys, and we hope to see you on the next one.